So the United States has once again decided to delay a threatened strike on Iran's energy infrastructure, this time extending by 10 days. For more on this, we're joined today by Dr. Paik Seung-hoon, researcher at the Institute of Middle East Studies. Dr. Paik, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you for having me to your show.
So this is the second time President Donald Trump is extending the deadline. So what's the U.S. strategy here?
My sense is that the U.S. strategy is coercive diplomacy. Trump is keeping the threat of force in place, but delaying the most escalatory option in order to see whether military pressure can produce a negotiated opening of Hormuz without triggering a wider regional energy war. That matters because a prolonged disruption there could remove 13 to 40 million barrels a day from global supply. So Washington is trying to balance leverage, diplomacy, and market stability all at once. So the risk is that repeated extension may buy time, but they may also convince Tehran that the U.S. is more constrained than it wants to appear.
I see. And the White House says talks are gaining momentum, but Iran denies engaging in any negotiations with the United States. So both sides are describing things very differently. Why are the two sides sending conflicting messages, and what do you make of the latest developments in this war?
Both sides are sending conflict messages because they are speaking to different audiences and trying to preserve different forms of leverage. For the White House, saying that the talks are gaining momentum serves three purposes. It reassures markets, it signals to regional allies that Washington is still in control of the escalation ladder, and it increases psychological pressure on Tehran by suggesting that Iran is looking for an exit. For Iranian side, publicly denying a negotiation is about regime legitimacy. Tehran does not want to look as though it is negotiating on the bombardment or accepting American terms from a position of weakness. So what we are seeing is not necessarily a contradiction between diplomacy and denial. It is a familiar pattern of indirect diplomacy paired with public posturing. So as for the war itself, the latest developments suggest neither side has achieved decisive political victory. The United States and Israel has inflicted serious military damage on Iran, but Iran still retains enough capacity to keep the conflict costly. So especially through missile attack, regional escalation, and disruption around the Strait of Hormuz. So Washington has pursued some strikes, and it is clearly testing whether military pressure can now be converted into diplomacy. So my reading at this is that the war may be moving into a bargaining phase, but it is not yet moving into settlement phase.
I see. And while it's still unclear who the Trump administration is holding talks with, the United States and Israel have reportedly removed two senior Iranian officials from their target list. So is Washington trying to signal that they're not going to harm them and is encouraging them to come to the negotiating table?
Yes, I think that is the most plausible interpretation. So that Iranian Foreign Minister Arakchi and the speakers, the head, the Ghalibaf, were taken off Israel hit list after Pakistan urged Washington to intervene, precisely because killing them would have damaged any remaining diplomatic channel. That does not mean the United States suddenly trusts those figures or has identified them as future partners in a broad rapprochement. It means something narrower than more tactical. If you want diplomacy, you need surviving interlocutor. So in war like this, there's an open and unspoken distinction between targets who are militarily expendable and officials who remain politically useful. By pulling back from strike on those individuals, Washington appears to sending a limited but important signal. We are still leaving room for an off-limb. So at the same time, I would not overstate the significance of this move. The Israel official insists no Iranian leader is permanently off-limit. So this is less guarantee or safe than a temporary diplomatic holding pattern. So in other words, Washington is not offering the trust, it is offering a narrow window. The message is essentially, we are still prepared to talk, but not indefinitely and not without major concession. That is a coercive signal, not a conciliatory one.
Speaking of peace talks, Iran has rejected a 15-point peace plan proposed by the Trump administration, and instead they issued their own demands. What do both sides want from each other, and do you think the two sides can actually reach a deal?
At the broadest level, the United States wants Iran to emerge from this war strategically weakened and structurally constrained. The American proposal includes removing or dismantling Iran's enriched uranium stockpile, halting enrichment, curbing ballistic missile development, and ending support for regional partners and proxy groups such as Hezbollah and Hamas and Houthis. From Washington's perspective, this is not just a ceasefire package. It is an attempt to rewrite the terms of Iranian regional power projection. But Iran, by contrast, wants a deal that look less like surrender and more like reciprocal, like de-escalation. So the Tehran is demanding a permanent halt to attacks, compensation for wartime damage, recognition of its position regarding the Strait Hormuz, and no concession on its core defensive posture, especially missile range. So Iran also wants any broader settlement to address the Lebanon front, which show Tehran is still trying to negotiate regionally, not just bilaterally. So can they reach a deal? Yes, but probably not a comprehensive one in the immediate term. The gap is simply too wide. So the U.S. wants rollback. Iran wants to guarantee and face-saving reciprocity. So what looks more realistic is an interim arrangement, limited de-escalation, a pursuit in selected strikes, indirect talk through mediators, and perhaps a narrow understanding on maritime passage and escalation control. So a full strategic settlement is possible only if both sides lower their maximalist demand. So right now, they have not done that. So I would say a deal is possible, but a grand bargaining is still unlikely in the near term. So there is a possibility that the Trump administration will going to extend another concession and then start doing the bargaining for about 3 or 4 weeks before the summit meeting with China begins.
I see. So not anytime soon. And Dr. Paik, before I let you go, last Friday, Iran fired missiles targeted a joint U.S.-UK military base in Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. And that place is 4,000 kilometers away from Iran, and that's roughly twice the range Tehran has publicly claimed for its ballistic missiles. So how far can Iran's missiles actually reach, and how serious is this threat?
Iran always claimed that they have the peaceful spaceship program. So I believe 4,000 to 5,000 is their maximum. But I don't believe they have a capability to hit United States because 4,000 is not enough. They need 12,000 to actually reach the United States, which is three times longer range of 4,000. So I mean, but they do have capability to hit Israel in any place of Iran territory. So they're kind of like showing that, you know, even in the mountainous area, hiding space, they could shoot and they could hit Israel and all the U.S. bases within the Middle East and their boundaries. So that is an important signal that Tehran have like shown. But I don't believe they have capability to actually hit or strike United States yet.
I see. All right, Dr. Paik, thanks so much for coming on today. We appreciate it.
Pleasure is mine.